Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to another episode of GVN's Coffee Break. It's Tia and Brittany, unfortunately, not in person, back on Zoom.
I'm sorry, my brain, as soon as she said unfortunately, I thought it was unfortunately like after my name. And I was like, well, all right then. I guess that's how we're starting. And then you were nice. And I was like,
Yeah, you should feel
okay,
bad for automatically judging me right off the bat.
girl, it's you. It's you. It's you. You know what's funny is I'm hearing the noises of New York behind you, and I'm like, I kind of miss it. Kind of lulls you to sleep at night.
It does, all of the police sirens and fire trucks. It wouldn't be New York without that.
Nothing like some distraction to get the nighttime sleeps going on.
Exactly. I mean, some people fall asleep to like TV, some people uh fall asleep to music, which I could never, by the way. Like that's the thing. So I know this is so weird to start off with, but
Good.
prior to Polly and I moving in with each other, like I had to sleep in absolute darkness. It had to be pitch black with nothing on at all, or else I couldn't go to sleep. Now that we live together, like still the lights will be off, but it's like I'm okay with the TV being on. But as soon as music starts going, I'm like, I can't sleep now. Like I can't sleep. And Polly's like,
Yeah.
what's the difference? And I'm like, there's a difference.
Well, I think it's because your brain is active, and I think with us being like fairly imaginative people, you have that song, and you're like, I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to stay awake. This is going on. I will say, I'm in the same situation, but like reversed, because I was so afraid of the dark, and I'm still pretty terrified of the dark, or at least being alone in the dark.
Mm.
I would have to have lights on and the TV on, or just something that made me feel like not so alone. Aaron's like sleeps in utter darkness and like no sounds, no nothing, and I'm like, this is terrifying. I've gotten used to it. I sleep better, but dang, it's a change.
See, I love it. Like the few times that Polly like hasn't been here at night, it's like I shut all the lights off, turn everything off, and I'm like, ah, yes, being a vampire
Yes.
again.
Oh, I'm gonna say I have my vampire teeth laying over here, Tia. Don't get me on another vampire kick.
Oh my gosh, how was your Halloween? Happy Halloween, everyone, by the way.
Happy Halloween, guys. A little on November 1st. It was good. A lot of our stuff we ended up, I didn't realize that a lot of kids trick or treat on a Saturday. I wasn't assuming for any trick or treaters because it wasn't Halloween.
Yeah.
So it scared the crap out of me when kids started knocking on the door, and I was like, oh crap, good thing I won this big giant bag of candy at trivia, because I was gonna go get candy that day,
Oh wow.
and so I ended up using that because this is only my second time really being in a place of giving out candy to children. And so then, had a drink, out and ate, watched people be dressed up. And then it felt like when Sunday rolled around, since all that happened, I was like, gosh, it doesn't even feel like Halloween today. That just feels like the day after Halloween now.
So, what was I gonna say? Like, yeah, my parents right now are in St. Martin, right? And
I've been
apparently
looking at the pictures.
I know she's like posting at the store. And apparently in St. Martin, it's a thing that if Halloween falls on a Sunday, I guess it's some religious thing where it's like they can't throw like a Halloween party if it lands on a Sunday. So they have to celebrate it that Saturday. So I thought that was interesting.
That is interesting. And maybe that's why, living in the Bible Belt, they're like, oh, we can't do it on a Sunday.
Not the Lord's
Heaven
Day.
forbid. Not the Lord's Day.
And listen, I make these jokes by the way as a Catholic, so
I know.
just throwing it out there.
Somebody on the stream was like, man, you make a lot of religious jokes for a Baptist. And I was like, it's how I cope. Leave me out of this. I cope.
I should be able to make fun.
With dark humor.
I should be able to make jokes. Like,
I know.
But
I know I did start to joke with them where I'm like, I'm more non-denominational now. It's fine. It's fine. This is fine.
but yeah, like my Halloween, I spent it literally just like it was kind of nice out. So Polly and I just took Lady on a walk. We put her little like pumpkin sweater on, so it was cute. And I actually was wearing like horns for a good portion of the day that I
You
had.
are the devil.
Oh my God, I had gotten them at the Renaissance Fair years ago. Oh, I'm going to take them out actually and show you. But then they kind of started hurting my head. So I like left them be and everything. But yeah, so I did that and I watched, oh, this I have to tell you about. So I watched the first like Nightmare on Elm Street again. Love that, by the way. Here they are.
Oh my gosh, those are so good. Those are not like the normal kind of horns. Those
No,
are
like I know you can't see them like, but they're like, I mean, they're
yeah, those are legit.
They're legit. I mean, they cost a pretty penny. Should I be wearing them for like this?
Yeah, do it. You got the devil and the cat. There you go. I got it.
I'm not gonna do that.
You know, if you play D&D, you would make a perfect tiefling.
I have no idea what that is, but go ahead.
Tieflings have like they come from a plane that's like more hellish, and so they're completely like completely red, blue, some are kind of yellowish, but they have long tails and like these like really bright like devil-like eyes and huge horns. And I was like, you would be a tiefling, it'd be great.
It's actually perfect since I have the red light on if I had the horns and everything like that.
All right, leave them on. I'm over here. I'll stick my vampire teeth in. No, I'm just joking. I wouldn't be able to talk.
I'm gonna put it on if I can tie it while like actually talking and everything.
You know what's funny is like now being away from you now, I was like, oh, I'll help you. You know, I don't like want to reach across the screen and just like, I got you, girl.
I appreciate it, but I don't think it would help very much. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. This already feels like it's because my hair is all down and everything. So I don't know. Imagine this on me for the rest of the podcast.
I was say your hair looks great. I'm not used. You don't always have it down. You're rocking the down style.
Because like now that I work a part-time job, like so I work a part-time job at a coffee shop 5 days a week, which is honestly great. I really love working there. So I do that on top of this, right? And so it's because we all gotta do what we gotta do to pay the bills and everything. Yeah. And so obviously it's a coffee shop, so when you work around food, your hair has to be up. So I'm so used to like putting my hair up and everything for work that it's like I don't ever like put it down ever. And so today I was like,
you gotta let your hair down, girl.
Yeah,
you gotta let your hair down. It's like the songs.
But I was gonna say that yesterday for Halloween, I watched the original Nightmare on Elm Street, which is still amazing. I still love it. But I watched for the first time, and I have so many thoughts and feelings right now. I watched for the first time the original It movie because I had never seen it.
There was an original. Wait, there was an original. I forget a lot of the times. Yes, because
with Tim Curry,
I've heard people say that they were absolutely terrified of as a kid. Like I remember people saying that it was the reason they had clown fears growing up. I don't know why I completely forgot.
No, and I actually mentioned that today. I was like, because I was telling my boss, I was like, yeah, I've never watched the original It. And he was like, you've never seen the original It? He was like, whoa. And I go, yeah, that's why I didn't grow up with like a clown phobia, because everyone in my high school grew up with a clown phobia. But anyway, so did you see the 2017 It, the one with Bill Skarsgård? I mean, it's okay if you didn't.
No, but I saw the sequel.
Okay. So it's like I saw those versions and I thought Bill Skarsgård, first of all, you have to watch the 2017 version because it's much better than the sequel. So the whole thing, okay, really quick, right? Because I don't want to make this entire episode about It, but it's like what they did in the 2000. So what they did in the current one, right, was like the 2017 one just focused on the kids and like their whole thing, right? And then obviously the sequel had them as adults. But in the original, in the 1970 version with Tim Curry, they pretty much combined those two into one movie. Meanwhile, the movie's like 3 fucking hours long and it like goes back and forth. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to hurt a lot of people right now. I'm gonna use some strong words right now.
You see my face? I was like, oh no, Tia.
I thought it was crap. There was at some point where I paused and I was like, oh my God, I'm only 40 minutes in. I got like 2 hours and 15 minutes here. And it's like, I understand if people watched it when they were younger, so they have an attachment and they're like, oh my God, it was so scary. It's like, I can see that because it wasn't like Tim Curry as Pennywise who was bad. It was everything else. It was like the cheesy 1970s style of like filmmaking. Like, I'm sorry, Brittany, there was at some point between the 70s and 80s where people like
now I'm looking up Stephen Curry too as
Tim Curry.
I don't know why it says Stu. Why did I say
He
Steven?
played.
I was thinking of the.
He was the dad in the Wild Thornberrys. He was Dr. Frankenfurter. Don't disrespect
I
Tim
know.
Curry.
I know who he is. Girl.
But,
My brain went to Stephen Curry though. He looks terrifying.
But
Jesus Christ.
But the thing is that I'm like, people from like the 1970s to the 1980s just like stopped being good actors. It's like people stopped, like everyone was so cheesy. It always felt as if no one knew how to act and they were just so stiff, right? And it's like, because people nowadays are such great actors and people really put in effort to be believable. And I do believe at some point they did before the 1970s as well. It's just for some reason because drugs, all the drugs.
Do you think the reason why though is because, you know, as we've gotten older and as movies go on, we do want to feel like it's something so believable. But I think back then they didn't take it as seriously to have to make it utterly like it was known that it was a movie. So maybe like just the methods have changed.
Yes and no. I think you have a very good point, but they still had the Oscars back then, meaning they were still giving people awards for acting.
Stop it, you're gonna make me choke on my Red Bull.
So my thing is, right, it's like, let me just say this really quick. Like, I thought the acting was really bad, the line deliveries. And here's like a huge part of the problem for me. How they the portrayal of the character Beverly, you know, the only girl in the entire like movie, right? When you have it in the current films, it's like, I like her in the 2017 version, and I like how Jessica Chastain plays her in the sequel. But you have in the original 1970s it where it's like she's so just la-di-da and there's really no personality. And I swear to God, Brittany, and I'm just gonna be unfiltered right now, they fucking pass her around in this movie as if it's like a porn version of it. It's like
Aren't they children?
No, but when they're older, when they're adults and everything,
okay.
right?
Well, like, okay,
yeah. Because it's like when she reunites with them, it's like she literally kisses like every single one of them on the mouth. In one scene, she has her like head laying in one of their laps. In another scene, she's getting a back massage by one of them. And it's like just so like uncomfortable to me. I'm just like, because I feel like, and it's like, listen, if that's your like friendship and everything, I'm not here to judge. Like, I don't want that to seem like that's how it is. Yeah. It's just, I know that the directors are writing things from like an overly sexual, provocative like standpoint where it's like,
I feel like that was the time period too, where, you know, it's a lot of those things. It's like, you know, I think back to the stories my mom tells me about the 70s and 80s where I'm like, that wasn't okay back then. And she was like, yeah, but she goes, we never thought that, you know, just like all those kind of things. She was like, it was just the times, you know. And I've heard that from a lot of people, but that's kind of the thing is like, we think back then, oh, they're all prudes. And I'm like, there was more like pornographic imagery in those kind of movies back then than now. Because I remember watching something PG-13 with some friends, and then it was from the 80s, and there was full-on titties out, and I was like,
Did,
what?
didn't you ever,
What?
didn't you ever watch like the 1970s version of like Romeo and Juliet in school? Like literally there's a 1970s version of Romeo and Juliet, and we watched it in school. And remember back then when like you knew the day was going to be a good day in class when they like rolled out the freaking TV.
Yeah.
So
Does the freaking teacher have the freaking binder just ready to like
no, what
like
she
cover it?
So there's that one part in the movie where like Julia is full on topless, and I guess she didn't realize, and she literally goes like this to try to like cover. She like, and she literally goes, "Don't tell your parents."
What are your teachers for? Like nuns?
Well, I was in Catholic school. I was in 8th grade. You're not supposed to be showing a movie with
No.
tits.
I'm just saying. Was it a nun? Was your teacher a nun?
I never had. So that's crazy. Like I went to Catholic school, but I never had nuns as teachers. So
okay,
this is just like
I'm imagining. No, I'm gonna pretend that she was a nun because I want to see a full nun get up of her like. Ah!
So, well, it was mostly like, again, like a bunch of 8th graders like that you're showing. But I mean, so two things like, and I forget what it's called. It's like the motion picture or something. It's like from the 1930s to 1960s, there was a religious group that pretty much had their like hands in all filmmaking production. And there were rules like you couldn't show nudity, you couldn't show kissing for more than 3 seconds, you couldn't show a man and a woman in bed together.
Yes, because that was with I Love Lucy.
Right. But prior to that, there were no rules. So if you go back and look at certain 1920s silent film, there's nudity, there's, you know, sexuality. So as you said, like things weren't always like prudish and everything. And again, I'm not saying like that from a prudish standpoint with going back to it. It's just like this hypersexualization for no reason. Like, so yesterday when I was rewatching like Nightmare on Elm Street, which I love, but Paulie pointed out something. There's that one part where like the main character Nancy, you know, she's being chased by Freddy Krueger, and Freddy Krueger's like, "I want to be your boyfriend, Nancy," and he like starts wiggling his tongue at her, and Paulie's like, "Isn't she supposed to be a high schooler?" And I'm like,
"Oh yeah, because back then they didn't care."
And I was like, at first I go, it's a horror movie. He's like a demon or anything. He's like, I get that. He goes, but someone had to consciously write in that line and give that direction for him to do that. And I was like,
to be fair, isn't Freddy Krueger, for the sake of YouTube, a P word? You know, like,
well, so please, for the sake of YouTube.
Yeah, for the sake of YouTube.
So from my research on it, originally Freddy Krueger was inspired by a P word, but because it was the 1980s, they couldn't. It's like, you know, that's during like the horror monster genre, like Friday the 13th, blah blah. So it's like they couldn't sell that. You know, it's like we could have. It's so terrible. We could have someone who literally like murders children, but you know. Like,
so they made him a child murderer,
right? But so then, but if you see the 2010 version, the remake, which is awful, they do make him a P word because there's at some point where they find photographs and everything.
I remember. I think we may have watched some of that movie together. I remember we watched the first one together for the first time because I had never seen any of them. Like that's like I watched Scream for the first time on Saturday, and it was so good.
It's a classic. It really
was a classic. I will say in that, like the tropes. I laughed at first because I was like trying to guess all who would die. I did not expect one of them. I knew one of them, and I knew there was two of them because of the scary movies, you know, the parodies.
Yeah.
And I was like, but I wasn't expecting who the main guy was. And so I'm watching it and I literally was looking at it, I was like, she dies, she lives, he dies. And I remember Ryan, my friend, was like, well, why do you think that? And I said,
It's the horror
because
movie rules.
I literally looked at, I said, she's all like chaste and like very like, I'm a virgin. I was like, so she's not gonna die. This other girl's not even being any other kind of way, but she's obviously like, active, which is completely fine, but she's gonna die because of it. And then in the movie, that is actually something they start talking about the
Yeah.
tropes,
Well,
like within the movie.
Well, it was funny because I watched this thing where they were talking about the first Scary Movie, and they're like, it's hilarious because Scary Movie is supposed to be a parody on Scream, at least the first one, right? But Scream was already a parody of like horror movies. And what's crazy is if you go back and watch the first Nightmare on Elm Street, who lives? Nancy. Who is Nancy? A virgin who doesn't smoke and doesn't drink.
She's the good girl. She's the good
girl. Who dies in the first like 10 minutes of Nightmare on Elm Street? Her friend. What does she do? She has sex with her boyfriend and she drinks and she's lying to her parents.
They're trying to tell us not to do things. That's all they want.
The movie Freddy versus Jason, like one of my favorite movies of all time, unapologetically one of my favorite
I literally
movies.
Just talked about this movie the other day because of you.
But so I own the DVD and whatchamacallit, there's a commentary like cut of it where it's the actor who plays Freddy Krueger and I forget who else, I think the director, who are doing the commentary. And in the movie there's like a character who's doing all the typical bad things in a horror movie, and the actor Robert Englund who plays Freddy Krueger was laughing. He's like, oh, she's committing the cardinal sins of horror movies. She's having sex, she's drinking, she's smoking, she's gotta die. And it's like, what were they telling, as you said, what were they telling us back then? It's like,
what were they telling us?
Don't do this stuff, you're gonna die.
I know. You know what's funny is like I was trying to think, when I was talking with my friend who he said he grew up with all the slasher films and all like, the Scream and the Nightmare, and he said those were really near dear to him. And he just kept wondering, why is it so different now? And it does go back. I think a lot of these things didn't take themselves too seriously back then. They could do kind of the corny stuff. I will say it's a little bit different. And I get like that hypersexualization. Though I do think in the book that's actually a part of it. Like,
well, it's a part of like the main
but
character.
But it does feel weird.
It's just that it wasn't done well. It's like, listen, like again, I do like those old horror movies and they are campy to a degree and you can still enjoy them. Like I still enjoy it. I laugh at the fact that every single person who gets killed by Jason Voorhees, runs like this, and meanwhile he's walking.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And it's like I don't get offended by that, but for some reason watching the original it's like it felt like a real consciousness of like, I don't know. I think you have to watch it to see what I mean, because it's like, again, I don't get mad at like the Freddy Krueger movies, the Jason movies, the Michael Myers movies. It's like, but for some reason I watched this and I was like, I think it's just because it was just a bad movie all around, whereas like the others are like it, you don't even have Tim Curry as it in it for that's the thing. I don't know how people were afraid because he's really barely in the movie.
Like 5 seconds. By the way, I started laughing a second ago because all I was thinking about is the scene in Scream where the girl goes, "Please, Mr. Ghostface, don't kill me. I want to be in the sequel." And I was like, I thought that was made up in Scary Movie. No. I thought that was made up.
No.
And it wasn't. I was like, like, you ever have something that's like so ridiculous? You're like, there's no way, No. It was a good line. It was a great line, even.
But have you seen that TikTok where it's like, listen, it's a good joke. It's a great joke.
Sometimes I like to twist memes just to see if somebody will get what I'm talking about later on, where they're like, "You dumb bitch."
No, but like, I don't know. I don't know. There is something about like like I was talking about how so there's this one Halloween movie and it's called Halloween. Let me make sure I got the right one because there was literally a million of them. Halloween.
You know what's funny is we had to do that trivia. So I told you I won a Halloween movie trivia night, right? Well, there was four different winners, and I got like the third or something like that. But it was like either like history or movies, just something Halloween related. And I won the movie one, which was hilarious because I don't watch a lot of movies, as you know. One of the only ones I missed is the Saw movies. Did you know there's nine of them? I said seven. There's nine Saw movies, Tia. That's so many.
They just keep going. So, okay. So Halloween Resurrection, right? It came out in 2002. And by God, it is a terrible movie, but it's also hilarious. Okay? Because it's so ridiculous. It's like if there's ever a horror movie that like easily encapsulates like the early 2000s, it's Halloween Resurrection because it's literally about a bunch of people for a reality show spending a night in Michael Myers' childhood home and recording it. By the way, Luke Kirby is in it, the guy who plays Lenny Bruce on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, playing a scumbag. But but let me tell you how ridiculous this movie is because Busta Rhymes is in it. Remember Busta Rhymes, guys? And it's literally
Is Busta Rhymes still alive?
Yes, don't be rude.
Wait, no. I just like I haven't seen him in so long. That's why I was wondering. You ever see someone like completely disappear out of like sight when they were so famous when you were a child?
Yeah,
not just because I just thought they were dead.
This was it. Like, this is the movie that killed his career. No.
Damn.
But it's literally
he may not be dead, but his career is. Damn.
So it literally has Busta Rhymes and Tyra Banks in it, and Busta Rhymes at some point at the end of the movie literally squares off with Michael Myers, and he's like spinning like a rod as if it's like a samurai sword. And
wait, who does this?
Busta Rhymes. Damn,
Busta Rhymes, get him! Damn.
But it's like, in all reality, that is the most ridiculous bullshit that you've ever heard, but it's so hilarious. So it's like there is a way to have these horror movies be ridiculous and still love them. I don't know. I guess it is because movies take themselves too seriously. I will say though, I think Jason X is like the worst like movie of all time when it comes to those like horror movies. Is that
Robot Jason?
It's the one where Jason's in space. He's in space.
And he's a robot.
He's in space. And
sorry, not a robot. He is a cyborg.
Can I just ask, like, what kind of drugs were people on? Like, were they just so seriously out of ideas that they were all sitting in the room? They're like, man, we've done Jason in Camp Crystal Lake. I forgot where his like place is. They're like, we've done it where he's in Camp Crystal Lake. We had him go to Manhattan. Where else can we go have Jason go? And someone was like, space.
By the way, it's so funny you say that. On the very first Jason, which is not called Jason, is it? It's called
it's Friday the 13th.
Yeah, Friday the 13th.
That's the thing. Really quick, I'm sorry. That was the name of the franchise. Like Jason X was just so weird. It like completely went away from what the franchise is actually called. But sorry.
All they got the rights to was a killer named Jason in that movie. Basically, what I was gonna say was I got really tickled because so in that trivia I did, one of the questions was who was the killer in Friday the 13th? And I instantly voted Jason, not thinking it was the mother, right?
Mother. Yeah.
Which was funny. And Scream, the question he asked her to let her live, like he was going to actually let her live, was the question was like, okay, here's your question. And it was, who was the killer? And she's like, it was Jason. It was Jason. And he's like, wrong. It was his mother. And I was like, oh shit. I would have died in that one because that's exactly what I voted
Well, because
too.
it's one of those things where it's like the Mandela effect where everyone forget, like you're so used to Jason Voorhees that you're like, yeah, duh, of course he's the killer in every Friday the 13th. It's like, ha ha ha, no, it was his mom. It's, by the way, do you remember the whole Scream thing with the ghost face where the whole was that?
Yeah. I used to quote it so much as a kid. I'm surprised my parents, out of all the things my parents let me watch, scary movies was probably not the best of them.
But they were so good, especially those
They were
first
so
two.
good.
Damn, I'm just like now thinking that we may be after Halloween, but we talking about these horror movies and shit.
I'm good with it. I was gonna say, me and you need to have a watch party night and watch something together. We can watch a scary movie. We could watch Scary Movie 1.
We could do that. I like Scary Movie 1. We could do that. How do you feel about the Chucky movies?
You know what's funny is people would always say they were afraid of dolls, and I never watched Chucky because I have my thing about scary things and being easily freaked out.
Mhm.
Everyone's like, "Oh, I'm afraid of dolls" because this reason. I kind of find Chucky kind of comical,
Yeah.
well,
Well,
like a little silly. Like,
no, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry for
no,
interrupting.
that was basic. That was just the gist of it.
Well, I was just gonna say it's like my biggest problem as to why I like never really fully liked Jason or Michael Myers is that they didn't have any personality. To me, I'm like they're just
Yeah.
walking zombies essentially. But the reason why I like Freddy Krueger so much was because he actually had personality. So it kind of goes the
He was
same.
playful. He was
eh,
scary because he was that. And Chucky was more like kind of reminded me of the Joker,
Yeah.
playful but still having murderous intent.
But I will say that because I never watched Chucky as a kid, so I never had that whole attachment of I'm afraid of dolls. Because to me,
Yeah.
as I got older, I'm like, dude, you could just punt like Chucky. He's a doll.
Yeah. Like I don't think did he have supernatural powers at all, or was he just
I forget now because it's been so long. I
I like
remember
Tiffany.
I was gonna say I remember watching the Bride of Chucky where Tiffany became a doll too, and I just love her voice so much.
I just like I don't know. I love that actress a lot. She remind me to say something after the podcast because there's someone she reminds me of.
Okay.
And like I have to find the name.
Okay, no problem. But yeah, I really liked her in it. I don't know. I think that things take themselves too seriously now. Like I haven't seen Halloween Kills, but Cindy did and she said it was really bad and it's kind of been getting like really mixed reviews. And I'm like, I think that I don't know. I don't know. I mean, we have better like action movies and better acted movies, but we don't have better horror movies. Like horror movies don't know what
I
they're
think
doing anymore.
I think what's hard is that those were the ones that people loved so much back then.
Hmm.
And then to kind of get that flame back for it and really like inspire people again is hard because they go back to the oldies because those were the classics and people drove those movies into the ground anyways, just constantly rebooting. But that was kind of the joy of them. But I think now if someone wanted to make their own new slasher thriller, it's kind of like you almost feel like you have to kind of do that older era. Like I think the best scary movies are ones that take place in the 80s because I think now it's if you make it too modern, people just call to solve their problems. Oh, cut cord and you can't make a call from your wired phone. I have a cell phone. And I know even the like, oh, well, we traced this call and it's like you had a and they didn't call them cell phones. They're like in Scream, they go like, why did you have a cellular device? And I'm
Oh
like,
yeah, it was cellular. Because don't you remember
yeah,
there was literally a Chris Evans movie, like one of the first that he was in called Cellular. 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 I can't even say it because it's like no one calls
cellular. No, you got me. Cellular.
no one calls it
Cellular.
that.
I had it. Yeah, nobody calls
Cellular.
that cell phone.
Cell phone. The cell.
Cellular device. Okay, I got
Cellular
it. I'm happy now.
device.
Gotta really pronounce that U in the
The
middle of it.
cellular.
Yeah, there you go.
There
You
you go.
got it.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I like those early 2000s movies too because they're like time capsules. I don't know. We were so
Oh,
innocent back then.
I know. It's like I didn't know a good movie until I was already a woman, and by then it was all the same. It
I
was
mean,
all Marvel
it
movies.
was all Marvel movies, which I mean, The Eternals does come out this Friday, and I'm very excited to go see
Oh
it.
shit, I forgot. Oh, I gotta get my tickets.
Yeah, go do that so that we can actually like talk about it together.
Dude, let's do it. Okay, I gotta do the math. I'm making Aaron go with me, and if he can't go, I guess I'll go by myself.
I'm literally going by myself on Friday. I bought my ticket because like I did get offered to go see the early screeners for it, but I just couldn't with like my work schedule and everything. So like Jawan went to go see it and he really liked it. He said it was really good. And that man is very like picky about his Marvel movies now. Like I swear there's like no Marvel project that he's actually excited for these days. So the fact that like he reported back with good reviews, I'm like, okay, cool.
Jawan was a hard man to please. You gotta have the right movie for him.
Gotta have the right movie. So I'm excited for that. I literally bought my ticket like 2 weeks ago. I'm pumped for it. Um, oh, you know what I wanted to tell you really quick? I was at H
Tell
Mart.
me.
I was at H Mart earlier and I saw a costume for Squid Game. And I was like
What?
I was like
Was it for the mass people or was it for like the little like numbers,
it was
like as if you were a
the,
participant? Yeah, I've already got a Chepe kick. Do not get me onto Squid Games.
oh my god, I was just gonna say that people are not gonna understand what you mean, by the way. Like listen to this.
Okay, I go through obsessions, right. And whether it's like mafia characters, this or that. Right now, I'm on to Chepe, one of the gentlemen of Cali, and on Narcos season 2. I love Chepe. He shows up for literally 5 seconds. Season 3. Golly, we had more seasons than I thought. What's funny is I've seen more of season 3 than I've seen of any of the seasons.
Which is so funny because I actually think that season 3 of the original Narcos is the weakest out
Oh,
of
I agree. I agree because of the episodes I've seen. But it was like Chepe's literally in it. But he's like Silence of the Lamb to me. He's like Hannibal Lecter getting like 8 minutes in the entire film. But for me, he just makes it to you. He just makes it. Except he killed Fluffy.
oh yeah.
There you go. Everybody, I'm looking up clips, and people were like, "Oh my god, he killed Fluffy! You monster!" And I was like,
Whatever. Whatchamacallit, speaking of which, the final season of Narcos Mexico comes out this Friday, November 5th. So it's so crazy. I really like Narcos Mexico. And I think as a whole, I like Narcos Mexico better than I like Narcos, even though I still think that the first 2 seasons of Narcos are amazing and they're up there. But I think because I really just did not like season 3 of Narcos, it's like I think as a whole, like all 3 seasons of Narcos Mexico were better. I got early screeners, by the way, to watch the 3rd season of Narcos Mexico. You find my review below.
points down. Wait, where are we? Wait, are we side by side? I'll just point down. There you go.
But yeah, so it's like after watching season 3 of Narcos Mexico, I'm like, as a whole, I think that this one is better than Narcos again, even though seasons 1 and 2 are fucking phenomenal. So you should definitely all watch that when it comes out this Friday after you're done watching The Eternals. Then you can go home and watch on Netflix season 3 of Narcos Mexico. Like, I love it. And there's a rumor that came out, and I'm going to give credit, reported by the Illuminati, which is an outlet that frequently posts rumors, but a lot of their rumors end up being true. See, that's the thing. There's a lot of scoopers out there, and most of the time their scoops are like absolutely ridiculous. Like
Sorry,
like Grace Randolph. But
I was gonna say, I was like, ever since you fully told me everything, I was like, oh, this is why Twitter is always a buzz with this name.
Yeah, I don't care. She has me blocked on Twitter. So so even though Grace Randolph and many like her are like wrong 99% of the time, the Illuminati is like right 99% of the time. So they have a rumor right now that's saying that Netflix is planning another Narcos spinoff that is going to center around this woman Narcos trafficker. And it's rumored that Sofia Vergara is going to play her. So I'm like, that's interesting.
I'm trying to think because there was a very famous, I'm trying to think of what her name was that was super famous, but she was famous in America for what she was doing. I wonder if there would be any relation. But for a while there, I didn't ever think they were going to complete Narcos Mexico season 1 because remember all the issues they were having. One of their
scouts, unfortunately, was killed. Yes.
Yeah, because so I was really surprised. I thought they were going to shut the entire project down, but it was good to see that they were able to finish, how many seasons now? 3, damn.
And they announced that this third one that's coming out on Friday will be the final one. And I think it's a good ending. I think it's a good ending to the story, even though there's so much to still talk about because like so many of those drug traffickers are still alive. Like in Narcos Mexico, they talk about El Chapo. El Chapo's still alive to this day, so it's like they could have kept going, but I understand it's like, let's do the next story. So I think we should like kind of keep in mind that if they continue with these Narcos franchises, that it's going to be like 3 seasons and that's it. But the trafficker that they're talking about in the rumor is called Grismelda. I forget the last name, but she was a Colombian drug trafficker before Pablo Escobar, who has many nicknames, one being the Black Widow because she literally ordered the executions of 3 of her husbands. And I'm like, well,
damn. Okay, female King Henry VIII. Damn.
Brittany, that was a highbrow joke.
I'm sorry.
No, but I'm really excited to talk about Narcos Mexico season 3 when it comes out. Scoot McNairy's great in it. Jose,
you love Scoot.
I love Scoot. Jose Maria Yazbek, if I mispronounce his name, I apologize. He is the actor who plays Amado Carrillo Fuentes. He does an amazing job at it, the Lord of the Skies. It's so funny because it's like these drug traffickers are obviously like horrible human beings in real life who've caused a lot of pain. But when you talk about like from a show perspective, you're like, I love these characters. And you're like, I'm talking about the fictionalized, dramatized version.
Yes, the romanticized ones, not
the actual.
Oh, I know. That's like with Al Capone. I'm always like, or like Bonnie and Clyde. I'm like, they're pretty sadistic. And then people are like, they're so romantic. And I'm like,
did you ever think that maybe Harley Quinn and the Joker are supposed to be like versions of Bonnie and Clyde?
Yes, I do very much so.
Bonnie was his king. I mean, not his king. Bonnie was his queen, and God help whoever messed with the queen. From Suicide Squad.
Sorry, I can't take that line seriously anymore ever since the super cringy edits on TikTok where they're like and they say it and they're like very like, and I'm like, please,
mercy.
Mercy. I can only cringe so far.
Yeah, no, I know. I was just thinking about that. I was like, huh, Bonnie and Clyde may have had slight inspiration for Harley and the Joker.
I agree. I agree.
I agree. Of course. Yeah. Good.
Now who's highbrow? Raising that eyebrow there, Gia?
I used to hang on and do what The Rock does.
I always do it, but I just look like sad.
I know
like,
you really look sad. Like you're doing like.
I am saying. Look real sad.
Oh,
look
Jesus
sad
Christ. Oh my God. By the way, really quick, one of my friends who I work with went to a Halloween party, and she said that there was someone there dressed as Emotep from The Mummy, and I was like, that's so perfect.
That's so like right there. I'm gonna say that's good. I'm gonna say
I'm so sorry that, by the way, The Mummy 2 like did not live up to my like memories, but I still hold true that The Mummy 1 is a fucking
still
classic.
fun though.
But
the original was like,
but the thing is,
shit.
we never finished The Mummy 2 because it's like I still think that it has one of the best scenes at the end in it. And I'm just gonna spoil the shit out of it because it's been like legit 20 years since the movie fucking came out. So it's literally, remember in the movie, like Emotep has to go up against the Scorpion King, and Brendan Fraser is there. And so there's at some point where like the two of them, like Emotep and like Rick O'Connell, right, are like dangling for their lives pretty much. And there's, you know, like both their ladies looking at them. And, you know, Rick, you know, Brendan Fraser's character is like, Eve, go save yourself and everything. And she's like, hell no, you the love of my life. I'm going to come and help and save you because I'm a badass independent woman who doesn't need a man, but I choose to have one. And so she runs to go save him. And so then Emotep looks at, you know, his lady friend who he spent literally 2 movies trying to get back with. And he's like, please help me. And she's just like, hell nah, I'm not sacrificing myself, and like runs away and like yeets herself out of there.
Shit.
And
shit.
And then he literally looks at Rick because Rick then has been saved, you know, by his woman. And literally Emotep just realizes at that point that there is no point in living and just like lets go and falls into the pit of like death.
Despair.
And to me, that's like my favorite scene because I'm like, wow, Emotep, you really like fucked yourself over for 2 movies over this woman who didn't
even care.
Who didn't even care and everything. And you realizing that you literally spent like thousands of years, like you pretty much were killed for nothing. Because remember, that was the whole thing why he was killed thousands of years prior was for her.
Was because for killing the pharaoh.
Yeah, exactly. So
this has been such a good time though.
Yeah. So just wanted to put that out there, but I think that us talking about this is probably a signal, a sign that we should wrap it up and everything. It's been amazing being on another coffee break with you, Brittany. I hope we get to do this again next week. Why don't you tell everyone where they can find you, what you got going on next?
You can always find me on Twitch at Itty Bitty Brit, where I've been playing a lot of Scary Movie. I've been playing a lot of Baldur's Gate. Basically, it's like it is D&D. You make your own character and you have to roll, and it's just like, but you can romance other characters. And I'm trying to romance this vampiric elf himbo that I just want to romance so bad. And but besides that, you can find me on Twitter at ittybitty_Brit0 and my YouTube at ittybitty_Brit. I don't think there's any change with that one. I think Twitter is the only one with the 0 at the end of it. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Please make sure that you check that out. Brittany is a very dedicated streamer who spends much of her time trying to entertain you all. Did you just dab right now?
No, I was doing like, yes.
I literally, you were like...
Wait, did I dab wrong? Okay, yeah, I dabbed wrong. Okay. I got it down now.
Anyway, I have secondhand embarrassment.
I don't know if I'm capable of being embarrassed anymore.
But again, please make sure that you check out Brittany. As for me, of course, the most important thing is that you continue following Geek Vibes Nation. We have the latest in news, movie reviews, TV show reviews, interviews. Juwan just interviewed legendary man Ernie Altbacker. I just interviewed the cast of Narcos Mexico season 3. You can find that all here on our YouTube channel. Please make sure you're subscribed if you're not. Please make sure you check all of our socials. We are on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, Geek Vibes Nation. If you want to follow me on my personals, I'm on Twitter and Instagram at TC_Stark. I'll make sure to include that down below. And it's been another fantastic coffee break. Let us know what you thought of the original It, what you think of the Eternals, and what you think of Narcos Mexico season 3, as well as the rumor that Sofia Vergara might be the lead in a Narcos spinoff. Until next time, guys. Bye.